Hello and welcome to Black Bear Atheist. Today we're gonna check out a video by digging up the Bible, 10 surprising scientific facts found in the Bible. The Bible is obviously a pretty big book, collections of different things, and it's gonna get some things right and most things, in my opinion, most things wrong because it was written by people who were not that knowledgeable about the word. They were of their own time. The Bible is not special.
10 science facts the Bible got right when nobody else did.
Watch to the end for a bonus science fact.
Special thanks to Evidence Study Bible for providing today's facts.
Fact 10.
Whoa, by Ray Comfort? Ray Comfort. By Ray Comfort or commentary by Ray Comfort? Having Ray Comfort on the name page itself it just lowers the reliability of everything that I'm gonna hear in this video.
Thanks to Evidence Study Bible for providing today's facts.
Fact 10.
The earth is round. In the 8th
And we started off strong. The earth is round. The Bible believes the earth is flat. Like, there are many verses that indicate so.
century BC, most people believed the earth was flat, but not the Bible.
No, the people in the Bible also believed it.
Isaiah 40:22. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. Yeah, but
I'm sorry, are we both reading the same thing, like a tent to dwell in? On a circle, they believe in a flat disc around the Middle East. It's a flat disc with a dome over it. A tent. Is tent a circle, people? Is tent... Do you have tent on a circle, just alone in space or nothing? Or do you have it on a surface and place it on the ground? Like a dome? Am I the only one getting the picture?
couldn't that mean a flat circle, like a disc? The Hebrew word for circle in this passage is hug, which can be translated as circle, orb, sphere, or tropic. Well, Isaiah is describing God stretching the sky over the earth like a tent. So,
Yeah, like a dome.
sphere would make the most sense in this context.
A spear will make most sense in this context?
So the world was round. But most people on Earth didn't know this, at least not for sure, until Magellan sailed around the world in the 1500s. But the Bible did.
No, people already figured it out in ancient Greece and figured out that the earth was flat. Like Aristotle, I believe, also figured this out, and Plato also figured this out. So people already figured it out.
Fact 9.
There are billions of stars. Until about the Renaissance, most people believed that there were only about 1,000 stars in the night sky. But not the Bible. Jeremiah 33:22. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. So the host
I'm sorry, how in the world did I say billions? Because billions is a measurement. Like, you can be a billionaire because there's a way to measure that. There's a way to measure how much that is. It never said billions. It never even indicated a number. It just said countless. What does that even mean? Infinite? Because there's a number on it. The universe is expanding, but the amount of planets and galaxies we have, I believe there's a number on it. We just don't know it. Or we probably do. Based on the expansion rate, we can probably calculate that. We can give an estimate of how much galaxies and planets there are, based on what we know. This is not what the verse is implying even.
Most of the heavens are the stars, but why did people think that there were only 1,000 stars? Because that's all they could see with their naked eye, depending on where you are located on the earth and how good your eyesight is. As late as
No, people can see up to about 5,000 stars. But during that time, they believed that you could only see like up to 1,000, but you could see with your eyes up to 5,000 stars. Or they documented it on paper up to 1,000 when they try to recognize them at least.
is 1598, Tycho Brahe completed a catalog of 1,000 stars because, well, that's all that he could see. It wasn't until the invention of the telescope in 1608 that astronomers realized that there are billions of stars, with more being discovered every year. The stars are truly innumerable, even today. The big question is, how did Jeremiah know that 2,600 years ago? Good question.
The answer is that he did not. I mean, terrible question. The answer is that he did not. He just didn't. But again, Christians translate the Bible to whatever they want to make it fit. That's why you could have the Bible. If people still believe that the earth is flat today, when there's some, if we can't prove already that the earth is flat, and the general opinion of scientists is that the earth is flat, Christians will go, yes, the Bible said the earth is flat before even scientists said so. If we figure out that the earth is square, I'm just saying hypothetical here. If we say that if scientists figure out the earth is actually square, not a sphere, they will look at the Bible and say, well, it says in this verse, four corners of the world. That proves that the Bible knows this shit before it even happened. They model the Bible. They play the Bible to the tune of what we're already discovering. Nobody, no Christian was saying the Big Bang was a thing until scientists figured out the Big Bang. They just been mixing it all together. Once scientists figure out something, they say, well, the Bible has a here. You see, this verse explains that. Now we know. But they're not the one that actually finds those things out. They're not the one coming to the word and say, well, the Bible said this.
Fact 8.
The Earth is floating free in space. It is not resting on the back of an animal or in the arms of Atlas. Job 26:7. He spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. Wow, what an amazing description of what astronauts actually see when they go into space. But how did Jeremiah know that it looked like that? He never went into space. Good question.
Again, these people did not. And like I said, there are things in the Bible that they go, right. Maybe not intentionally. Most likely not intentionally. But the hit and miss. But I don't believe he actually knew that the earth was a sphere and it was floating in space, holding up itself, well, not itself, holding up through gravitation.
Fact 7.
The universe is made of invisible elements. Hebrews 11:3. By faith we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. Our bodies.
Again, that's not what the verses even indicate.
These artifacts, everything is made out of atoms, electrons, and other subatomic particles. Right, but they are too small to be seen with the naked eye, so they are, by definition, invisible. Okay, but
Except they're not. It's not even indicating that. It's indicating like a word created everything, and the idea of probably the logos. Let's back it and read it. By faith, we understand that the universe was created by the word of God. This is, in a sense, referring to the idea that John in 1:1, talking about the word, the logos, in a sense, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. Well, obviously, words are not visible. Wouldn't it be referring to the word of God that made everything? Then again, maybe it's referring to atoms, because they could technically know exactly what atoms are when they were writing this Bible. And scientists are definitely, Christians are definitely, pastors are definitely the leaders in understanding what atoms are.
Our bodies, these artifacts, everything is made out of atoms, electrons, and other subatomic particles. Right, but they are too small to be seen with the naked eye. So they are, by definition, invisible. Okay, but how did the writer of Hebrews know that 2,000 years ago? Good question.
It's a terrible question. Stop saying that. They didn't.
Fact 6.
The stars are all different. 1 Corinthians 15:41. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For star differs from star in glory. So what does Paul mean by glory? Luminosity. How bright they are. He's using this scientific observation from nature to explain how our heavenly bodies will be different from our earthly ones. Yeah, but didn't everybody know that the stars were all different? Well, no.
No, nobody could see that the sun is fucking lighter than the fucking moon. Nobody could see that there's a difference in the lighting of the things they see in the sky. What the hell do you mean nobody could see it? And I believe the sun and the moon are different things. The sun is a star, the moon is not a star. But people can clearly see that there's a difference in the lighting of the things they see in the sky. But I guess everyone during this time was just dumb and were all blind and don't have a 20/20 vision.
Most Greeks and Romans thought that they were all basically the same, except the wanderers, the planets, which they thought were gods. Right, Venus, Mars. Is that all you can remember?
Fact 5.
Light is not fixed, it actually moves. Job 38:19-20. What is the way to the abode of light, and where does darkness reside? Can you take them to their places? Do you know the paths to their dwellings? So,
honestly, I don't even know what this verse is supposed to be indicating. What is the way of the abode of light? Where does the darkness reside? By the way, this is the same place where it says God has a hail house in a sense, where he sends his hail. This is the same book that says that. So I guess it's a pretty good place to get your scientific knowledge. And by the way, again, pastors popes the one that come up with the light actually moves. It's just that it moves quite fast. The light from the sun gets to the earth in about 7 seconds. That wasn't discovered by pastors. They were in communication and having a relationship with his divine God, but by scientists.
what does that mean? Light has a house? No. Light does not have a house. It's constantly moving. The idea that light or photons moved was suggested by Einstein in 1905. And yet, Job somehow knew about it thousands of years ago.
Bro, he did not. He did not.
That's amazing.
Fact 4.
Air has weight. Job 28:25. When he gave to the wind its weight and apportioned the waters by measure. Hey, we did this experiment in science class with a syringe and a balloon. What a mess. Right, but that experiment wasn't suggested until 1644. So how did Job know that air has weight? Good question.
Fact 3.
Winds blow in cyclones. Ecclesiastes 1:6. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. That's cool. It's like Solomon had a weather chart from a satellite, and he was tracking exactly where the wind was going. But the early...
Except he did not. Are we to believe all these messages are from God, the all knowing and all loving God? Okay, that attribute actually doesn't indicate anything, the all loving part. The all knowing God, the only attribute we need right now? Are we to indicate all this is from Him? Because it says man was created from dust, but we know we evolved. That's obviously wrong. Are those supposed to be metaphor? In the same Bible, apparently it showed up to, in the same Bible we have the Exodus story that there's no evidence of. We have the flood. There's no evidence of that too. The description of how people are supposed to get healed in the Bible of diseases like leprosy are also just not true. If this is from a all-knowing God, how is the Bible so related, so similar to the text and the beliefs of the people around that time? It is not special, people. It is not special. I'm not saying the Bible hasn't been influential over the last 2,000 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Bible is not special because the texts in it are related to what people believe around that time. The Jews were not special and were not, amazing and know everything about everywhere and nobody else knew it. That was what it wasn't what was going on. They were also influenced by the environment and they wrote it down. This was they didn't have like crazy knowledge about everything. Like that's just ignoring history and that's not true.
Greeks thought that there were only two winds, north and south. Later on, they added in west and east. But Solomon knew it wasn't like that. Right, because winds blow in cyclones, not in...
Yeah, of course Solomon would kneel because he's the wisest man alive and he made so many wise decisions, including having multiple wives. Which is amazing decision because everyone knows that's the best way to live your life.
in straight lines.
Fact 2.
Blood is the source of life. Leviticus 17:11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement for the soul.
I guess we're gonna exclude the blood cult and blood sacrifice shit. I guess that doesn't matter since we know that blood is what atones for the soul and life comes from the blood. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna exclude that entire part. And by the way, never mind.
Blood brings oxygen and nutrients to our cells. If your blood stops flowing through your body, then you die. But people didn't know about the circulatory system until 1628. In the Middle Ages, doctors would bleed you when you were sick. Yuck.
You know, if the Bible has indicated a different way for them to do, since a lot of those medieval Europeans that bleed people, which recently actually was, it still was quite a recent thing, like 300, 200 years ago. If the Bible had a clear way to cure many diseases like the fever or anything, instead of just praying and the praying not obviously working because people are just dying from left to right. If the Bible have indicated an actual good way to heal all these diseases, they wouldn't need to bleed people. Or think bleeding people would help in any way. So much for scientific knowledge.
Fact 1.
The ocean floor has valleys, mountains, and springs. 2 Samuel 22:16. The valleys of the sea were exposed, and the foundations of the earth laid bare at the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of breath from his nostrils.
The valleys of the sea were exposed, and the foundation of the earth laid bare at the rebuke of the Lord, and the blast of the breath from his nostrils. So rocks and volcanoes are God's nostrils? I don't get this.
Jonah 2:6.
At the bottom of the sea, where the mountains take root, I was as far down as a body can go, and the gates were slamming shut behind me forever. Yet you pulled me up from that grave alive, O God, my God. Job 38:16. Have you entered the springs of the sea, or have you walked in search of the depths? It's amazing that these Bible authors knew so much about the ocean floor. I mean, it's not like they had scuba gear back then. True. And the first underwater vents weren't discovered until 1977.
Interesting they know so much about the ocean that our knowledge about the ocean is still quite relatively low. I guess we need to read more of the Bible to know more about the ocean. Let's go to the special fact in the Bible.
Bonus fact.
Washing prevents disease. Leviticus 15:13. And when he who has a discharge is cleansed of his discharge, then he shall count for himself 7 days for his cleansing, wash his clothes, and bathe his body in running water. Then he shall be clean. Seems like a no-brainer, David. Didn't doctors always wash themselves? No. Doctors didn't start washing their hands between patients until the mid-1800s. In fact, one of the first doctors who suggested washing his hands was thrown in an insane asylum. And yet Moses and Aaron were washing their hands and feet more than 3,000 years ago. You bet.
If this was in the Bible and Christians knew about this all along during the medieval ages, why weren't they washing their hands? Why weren't the doctors washing their hands? I mean, if it was already in the Bible and you all can clearly see that the Bible said so, why wasn't this done?
Okay, but you still haven't answered my question. How did all of these Bible authors know all of these scientific facts?
No, we're just gonna address the dumb claim here. The same people, the same people believe that you could cure leprosy, hear me out, by killing birds and letting one go. Like, the process is like a ritual, a blood sacrifice of an animal to cure leprosy. Which we know that's not how that shit works. Jesus casting out demons that are just mentally healed people. Which we know that's not how that shit works.
Thousands of years before the advent of science. There's only one answer. Aliens. No. The Bible is not an ordinary book written by the wisdom of men. It is the inspired Word of God.
What the fuck does that mean? Because it seems like people are not even Christians are not sure what the fuck that means. Some are on the side that God literally wrote this shit. It was just true men. Some are on the side that, well, God wrote it, but it was just inspired by God. It wasn't like God actually wrote it or he was in control. There's people, he inspired them to write this shit down. Some are on the side that, well, we can't take everything in the Bible, though it was inspired by God, the people's opinion in it too. Which is reasonable, but they're the less part. They're more of the progressive Christians in a sense. The one that try to translate this shit in a whole different dimension, in a whole different way. So we're not even sure what the hell you mean by saying inspired by God. The Bible is a large book, and I said it at the beginning. It's a pretty large book. The chances of it getting something right, they're hard, and he got some things right. I guess you could say that. I'm just gonna put it out there. 800,000 words. He definitely got some things right, but he also got a lot of things wrong, which is okay because that's what you expect from a religious text. That's what you expect from a text that dates 300,000 years ago. That's what you expect. This was inspired by an all-knowing God because we would have the technology we have today 3,000 years ago. We have the medical advancement we have today 3,000 years ago. I mean, these people just, it doesn't make any sense. If you're saying God is, waiting or is, giving us the knowledge bit by bit, which is just a dumb excuse, it doesn't make sense because it benefit God when globalization happened, which came through technology, human advancements. It benefits God by increasing the numbers of people who are delusionally seeing Him. So I guess God doesn't know what benefits God. Just bullshit. But that's all I have for you today. Send 10 scientific surprising bullshit ass facts in the Bible. Even though we're bending and moving and cracking our whole necks to try to make sense of this bullshit. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day, people.